Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Freelance Friday podcast. Today, I just wanted to kind of catch up with you and share some of the things that I've learned over the past 6 months and some of the things that I'm planning for the next 6 months. It's really hard for me to believe that we're about halfway through the year. It's wild. This year has went by so fast for me. Let me know how it's been going for you in the comments. But I was inspired to make this episode because during the last round of the social media management accelerator, I was on a call with the class and somebody asked me to talk a little bit about how I deal with that, unknown, those feelings of unknown that are common in the freelancing space. And they said, or are you just perfect like it looks? And that really took me aback because I certainly do not feel perfect and I never want to portray that. So, I just thought we could kind of chit chat about how I make decisions and hopefully it will inspire you and help you make some of your own. First, a little bit of housekeeping. One quick announcement, exciting. I have a live workshop coming up next week that is for social media management portfolios or really any type of service provider portfolio. So if you do UGC or, you sell any type of service online, I would love to have you there. It's going to be live. And I think it's going to be the only time that I host this class specifically, at least for the foreseeable future. So I'll leave a registration link. It's totally free, but you do have to register for it. I'll leave that in the show notes and I would love to see you there. So let's talk about what's been going on for 2023. So something really interesting has happened. I feel like this year has felt like the first year that's kind of felt normal since 2019. And by that, I mean, conferences are back. That's been a lot of my world lately. I've traveled a lot again, which has felt really weird. I kind of forgot this was a thing that I did, that I often traveled to see clients. I traveled for events. I met people in real life and it's been really wonderful, but also has admittedly been a little bit hard for me to balance those two worlds. Like, I went freelance full time in like 2019, 2018. So I really only had a very short period of time of being a full-time freelancer before, everything happened in 2020. So it's been weird kind of trying to balance the growth that I had in 2020 and the changes that I made to my business with going back to this real world, quote unquote. And long story short, what it's meant for me lately is doing a lot more speaking and events, doing a lot more client work. And some of the online business side of my business has kind of fallen to the wayside a little bit. And what I mean by that is I have offered one cohort of the social media management accelerator. We're getting ready to open the second, which I'm so excited about. And I finally have some free time to be able to fully commit to that. But I haven't launched anything new, really. I launched a very small kind of micro course, which is all about pitching to clients. So that's new, but this is the first year that I haven't launched like a big new initiative. And that's just because my attention has kind of been elsewhere. So a couple of things on that, working with clients again, and not that I ever stopped, like I just want to be clear, but working with a lot more clients and a lot more involved large projects again has been great. But it also means that I've been kind of remembering some of the struggles that I maybe wasn't dealing with so much over the past few years. I have had a client situation that has just been like the ultimate scope creep situation. It was a project that was supposed to end in March, I think, that I'm still working on, that hopefully it will be over in July, meaning I haven't gotten paid my final payment, luckily. Get deposits, right? So at least I've been getting like some money for it, but it's been this ultimate stretched out thing. The asks just keep getting more and more significant. And you guys know I keep professional. I'm not going to like bash, this client and go in detail about what the project is or anything like that. But it's been really challenging for me. And I really haven't experienced that in a while, to be honest, because in 2020 through 2022, really all of the full service clients I was working with were clients that I had been working with for a long time. So I hadn't really onboarded a ton of new clients during that time. And so it's been challenging, I'll be honest, like just creatively. I've really doubted myself I was like, maybe I suck. Like, maybe I'm not good at this. I think there's always room to improve. But I just want to remind you that feedback does not mean that you're not good, even if it's unkind. That's really more of a reflection on them than you. I know that's cheesy, but it's true. So I've had to do a good job of reminding myself of that. But something else that I have been thinking about, which I've been thinking about this for a while, and it actually started last year. I was involved in a large production. I was on a set for a larger project, and I was just talent. I wasn't like doing any production work or anything. Within the first 10 minutes of a crew of like 10 men being in my home, I cried. And I continued to really struggle throughout that shoot. And I am a professional. Like, I know that I am, but some of the asks of me were just not professional, not anything, illegal or anything like that. But, I was asked to show the front of my house. I never want to make things just about gender, but I think that a woman producer or woman being on set would have understood. And so I don't know, just these couple of situations that I've been dealing with that are involved, have large productions involved, it just made me realize again, like how much I love production and how much I think there is a need, not just for more female producers, but also just people who are a little bit more like empathetic and maybe, yeah, I don't know. That's just been a thought in my mind. So I am putting it out there into the universe and onto the airwaves that I want to work on some more video projects with other people. Because here's the thing, like in this situation that I'm dealing with right now, I am the script writer, I'm the hair person, the makeup person, the wardrobe person, the talent, the camera operator, the audio engineer, the editor, the producer on set, the influencer or, whatever, marketer. Like I'm doing literally 10 different roles for this project. And I'm kind of at the stage in my life where I'm over that. Like the only types of projects that I'm willing to serve 10 roles for are my own, like for what we're doing right here. And even that is too much. Honestly, I almost had a meltdown today getting my freaking monitor set up to record this episode, and it, spoiler alert, turned off. So I don't know what I look like right now. Anyway, it's too much for me. So I really want to do some production work for other people. And something that I'm very passionate about is building authoritative content, building a YouTube podcast, for example. And I want to do some more of that. So if you're somebody who has been wanting to launch a podcast on YouTube, but you maybe don't know how to get it started production-wise, you need help with an editor, you need some help with direction and coaching for the show, hit me up. I'm going to be working on an actual full offer that'll be on my website, my agency website soon. But hit me up if that's something you're thinking about right now, because I really want to take this start to finish for, a couple of clients in the second half of the year. With that said, I also hired I actually made 2 hires this year. One for exactly that, somebody to help me with the content production side of my business, which is really exciting. So I can absolutely commit to at least a couple of businesses or solopreneurs who want to launch YouTube shows of their own. And the other person I hired is an instructional designer. So like I said, I've kind of let the online education side of my business go to the wayside just a bit. I've been not had a lot of time to launch anything new. And an instructional designer, for those who don't know what that is, it's basically, I'm probably going to mess this up somewhat, but it's essentially somebody who works with you to help design curriculum and design learning materials to go alongside your courses. So the course is still coming from my brain. We're meeting once a week, and she's just really helping me flesh out learning objectives and come up with activities for each of my module and, lesson ideas. And she's going to help me put together the slide decks that I'll be delivering live. And it has been such an amazing investment so far. I don't want to like jinx it. We're not done with the course that we're creating yet, but it's just been really cool to work with someone again, not just having the extra hands, but also having the extra, ideas and brain power and expertise, what she went to school for. She's extremely smart. And I've really enjoyed working with her. And what we're working on is a new course, which will be launching at the end of the year. So that should be fun. More to come on that in due time. I wanted to update you a bit also on like YouTube and what's going on with that. I mentioned maybe a couple months ago or a month ago. I don't know. I have no concept of time, but I mentioned it a while ago that my YouTube channel was tanking and I don't know what was going on. And I have good news and weird news. Good news is it seems to be back to normal ish. The bad news is that I did have a month that I'm just getting paid 50% less than what I'm used to for no good reason. And the weird news is other people have reached out to me and said they're having similar issues. So here's what I did if you're somebody who is in the same situation, or if you're just somebody who's curious about what's going on in the creator economy. So I talked to my YouTube manager. If you have over 100,000 subscribers, I'm not really sure, you can get somebody who works at Google to talk to. And I reached out to her. She was like, I have no answers for you. That's not really what my area of specialty is, but here's this link to the creator support team. And so I reached out to them and they basically told me that YouTube is going through, I don't want to mess this up. What did they say? They said they're essentially authenticating views or something, and that it appears that I don't remember the word they used, like basically bot traffic on my channel, which is not true. I mean, I have never paid for a bot. I've never paid for views. I've never paid for subscribers. It's like if I would be getting a lot more views than I am getting, right? So it was very weird. I'm not like accusing YouTube of lying, but it seems like maybe they're going through a verification kind of, you know what? I don't know, but it does seem that the problem has been resolved. But it did make me realize, I guess, how much I really appreciate this job and how maybe sometimes I do take it for granted, and just kind of rethink my strategy for YouTube a bit. So it's very clear that YouTube wants us to do short form content like all the other platforms. And this has been a struggle for me. Like, it's just a struggle for me. I don't like watching it. I hate recording on my phone. I don't know what it is. I am like the world's worst selfie taker. I hate recording, even Instagram stories. I don't really record a lot of face to camera Instagram stories. I don't know. I think it's because I have to stare at myself while I'm recording, and it feels very weird. I don't know. So something that's helped me is I actually got a new vlogging camera, this Sony camera, my first Sony camera ever. I also got this cheap little wide angle lens for it. Fun fact. Let me know if you want like an updated equipment tour or something like that. It'd be fun. What's cool about this is the little tripod that it came with has like, you can move it so that it's totally vertical. The camera's vertical. And I recorded a couple of podcasts, not podcasts. Oh my gosh. I recorded a couple of short form clips like that. And I love it. I'm like, okay, I can do short form content. If I can record on a camera and just move it around vertical, I think I can do short form content because I don't have to stare at my face. I don't have to use my phone. So I don't know if that's something any of you are struggling with as well, but just a little pro tip. I don't know. Just felt like sharing that. I also just want to shake things up on YouTube. Like, I'm just getting kind of bored with my content. And if I'm getting bored, you guys are probably bored. So I did an interview with one of my students that you all seem to really enjoy, which I was very happy about. One, because Shaylee is the person I interviewed. She's wonderful. I don't know. I'm always just nervous. They bring a level of anxiety because it's not just me counting on them to do well. And so I've always been a little afraid of them, but I do want to do some more interviews. So if there's anybody that you want me to talk to, any, types of industries or, job titles or whatever that you want me to reach out to, let me know. I think it was really fun to have a student on. So maybe I'll reach out to some of my other former students. But yeah, if there's any other types of freelancers or anything you want to hear from, I definitely don't want to make it the entirety of my channel, of course, but having an interview a month or something might be fun. With that said, with the whole ad crisis or whatever we're calling it, the YouTube chaos month, that led to one of my lowest months in business for like the past year and a half. And it was really scary. And it's still kind of scary, to be honest, because I'm not really out of it. YouTube has this delayed thing. So, you get paid on a delay. And it sucks. Like, it sucks because it shouldn't be this way, but it is what it is. I know I'm very fortunate to be complaining about this kind of stuff. And I think that perspective is really important. I think another thing that helped me with that is I had my biggest month in business right before this happened. Hit a milestone I never thought I would hit. Well, I don't want to say never thought, but hit a pretty big milestone that was really shocking for me. The next month, it was like complete, just like I was on the roller coaster, really hitting the bottom there. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. I think it's really important to look at your year, your financial year in quarters, because if I were to just take this month or last month or whatever at face value, I'd be like, wow, I suck. But when I actually did the math, I sat down. It's also why it's just important to track your revenue in general. I sat down and I looked at year over year by month, but also by quarter. So I am still doing better than I was doing last year over year, when I break my year up into quarters. And so that's really helpful for me because I really felt like I was just a total failure, after that happened, and other things like I was away in May and stuff like that. But it definitely helps me pace myself to do that and not feel like every month has to be this astronomical, what's the word for it? Exponential growth. I can say, okay, I did what I need to do for the quarter. Let's think about how we're going to make next quarter even better. So that's something that really helps. Maybe it will help you as well. I really encourage you to do that. I also hired a new accountant, which I literally almost cried when I got off the call with them because they're just so wonderful. I've been working with them for my bookkeeping services for 2 years now, and I think I cried when I got off my first bookkeeping call. There's just such clarity when you have good financial clarity, I guess. When you have good financial practices and a good understanding of your finances, you feel so empowered in your business. And I'm somebody who, I'm the only entrepreneur in my family. I mean, my grandparents were entrepreneurs, but, I think times were so different back then. I don't really know. I don't have anyone in my personal life who I can go to really for advice on things like investing. I've been wanting to do some real estate investing and other types of investing. I have no idea how to do that. And my accountants are on it. They're super smart. They're super helpful. And I just feel very lucky to have finally found some help in those areas. So it's a huge weight off my chest. What else has been going on? I asked you on Instagram if you had anything specific you wanted an update on. So let me see what people said. There are a bunch of questions about the book. So I will have an update on the book soonish. I had to move a writing retreat that I had scheduled, a camping trip writing retreat, because of this scope creep project that's never ending. But I am going to be doing that very soon, which is mostly going to be an editing retreat. It's written. I just need to now figure out what I want to do with it. And that's a whole other story. I've went down the traditional publishing route a bit, talked to some agents. I didn't feel great connections, to be honest. And I'm very much about using your intuition in these types of things. I also listened to some horror stories about traditional publishing that really terrified me. But I don't know if I want to self-publish either. So I'm kind of in this position where I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with it. But I do still very much plan on releasing a book in the next year, hopefully. Obviously, if I go traditional, it's kind of up to their timelines. But if I self-publish, my goal is within the next year. One person asked, will you be hiring this up and coming season? I know you've had trust issues in the past. Yeah, so like I said, I hired a couple of people, one to help with the production side of my business for other clients, so we can take on some video clients, and an instructional designer. And the instructional designer was a cold pitch. So that was kind of cool. It worked. I don't know. I get lots of cold pitches every day and 99% of them I delete because they're terrible. This one was very good. And she's amazing. She had the credentials. She had the experience. And she's, it just worked out. How do you update your plans when you're not reaching your goals and something has changed? So I certainly am kind of experiencing that again with this sort of scope creep project, because it's I had planned on being able to launch SMMA in April or May, and we're now almost in July before it's going to open. So that's another reason why I had a terrible month and I felt like my business was over, because I was missing out on a big launch that I was planning for. And I don't know if I have great advice on that. I guess just make the best out of it as you can. I mean, it is what it is. That was just reality. I didn't really have any options outside of saying I'm not going to finish the project and probably either have to get legal involved, which I never like doing. So I could either say that or just say I'm going to keep doing it and I'm going to have to suck it up. I don't know. I don't have great advice there. How do you stay motivated? Don't know. I have great advice there either. I think a lot of my motivation is just out of need. This is kind of getting depressing. It's kind of getting depressing, but I don't know. I don't really have a fallback. My business, I have to keep it running. There are other people who depend on me to be successful. And so I guess I think about them, but not just from my personal life and the people who depend on me, but also the people who have trusted me with their businesses, whether it's a service-based client or a student or a viewer, or listener of the podcast, people rely on this. And I'm not saying I'm saving lives out here, but I think about you guys. I think about my clients. I think about the people who have trusted me and have something really big that they want to bring to life. And then, just my personal responsibilities. I don't really have the option to not be motivated. I don't know. It's kind of depressing. How do you manage to be off during your off time or your time off? I took one extended weekend basically in Mexico. And I did do a good job. I think I answered one email. It was kind of on the last day. And I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think it helps. I'm doing this. I love camping because you don't really have internet. You barely have cell service. So that kind of forces you to be in the moment. But in Mexico, I had internet and cell service, but I just try to live in the moment, I'm never going to experience this in this exact situation again with the exact people that I'm with again. And you just have to live in that. I guess, I took time off for my nephew's graduation too, which it's just perspective, that is never going to happen again for him. I have other nephews. I'll see them graduate too, but I will never be able to celebrate my first nephew's graduation again. And so knowing that I'm going to get a million emails probably before I die, I am not going to have a million nephews graduating. And just taking that seriously, taking that commitment to my family seriously, taking that the personal roles that I serve seriously, I suppose is how I prioritize doing it. And just throw your phone in the river. I don't know. I mean, obviously don't actually do that, but leave it in your car, put it on Do Not Disturb, hide it in your kid's toy box. I don't know, do whatever you need to do to just be off your phone. I hate being on my phone. I can be on my computer on vacation and watch YouTube, but the second I pull out my phone, I get in work mode and it stresses me out. How do you creatively edit your videos to make them look professional? Well, I'll be honest, I've been editing videos for over half my life. I took my first film class when I was 15 or 16. I went to school for film. I'm not this huge professional. I clearly have a lot to learn, but I will just admit that I have been doing it for a long time. So if you start editing videos and you feel it's not, looking like what you want it to, practice. I mean, I've had a lot of practice. I do have a course, the Video Lab, if you want to take it and learn a little bit. And if you are looking for somebody to help you bring your project to life, let me know. Because again, I'm opening up the books for probably August, September for those projects. How do you plan ahead when there's lots of twists and turns? I try to plan by quarter. So right now I'm planning for Q3 and Q4, but that's just how I do it. But knowing that those plans have to be adaptable. I had this launch schedule, at the beginning of the year. And like I said, I wasn't able to meet my launch goal of April or May or whatever I had slotted out for the second round of SMMA. I couldn't do it because this project just happened and it wasn't possible. So you just have to be flexible. I think from a financial standpoint, being really smart about your money helps as well because, I have savings. I have the flexibility there that I don't have to, launch once a quarter or whatever to make my year or to just survive and pay my team and things like that. So I think having smart financial habits helps too. give you a little bit of flexibility and take some of that weight off, but it still doesn't feel great. Like I still want to be doing what I plan to do, but sometimes it's just not possible. And the last question I'm going to answer, I think, actually, we got two. Biggest success or failure operationally starting a business, and how has that adapted? I think, again, if you don't have a bookkeeper, I think you should get one. If you have lots of different revenue streams, having a bookkeeper really helps because they can really put things into perspective for you, let you know when you're overspending, when you're, could probably spend more, let you know, what their clients are doing that's working. It's really helpful to have like a financial leader, I guess, somebody that I can go to when I have financial questions. And I didn't have that for a long time. I had no idea where my money was coming from. And so I was making all the wrong decisions. I was focusing on things that weren't making me money. And, you live and you learn, but I spent a lot of time. I told you that I was doing podcasts when I first kind of started my business, and I was editing podcasts for like $100 an episode or less. And cool, portfolio work, loved doing it, fun work, but that was kind of a waste of time when I compared it to other revenue streams. It was also not something that I felt I was able to do my best work for. So yeah, little things like that. And last question is, what's been your best client or sponsor experience so far? I think for the year, sorry about the barking dog outside if you can hear that. Well, Metricool, you guys know, and they're not sponsoring this episode. This is an unsponsored episode, but they do sponsor the podcast. And I love working with them. They're amazing. I got to meet them in person, like the American team. Actually, a lot of the team, some of the team from Spain too, in San Diego for Social Media Marketing World. And meeting people in person, by the way, like this is one huge benefit of this year for me, has been being able to meet students and have not met yet, friends, online friends that I haven't met yet, and brands that I've worked with. So it really deepens the relationship, and they're just good people. And I love the tool. I mean, I genuinely do. Like, I think it is truly the best, especially at its price point. So I feel really good about recommending it. And it ties in really nicely with my content. Like, if we're talking about social media engagement, it doesn't feel like I'm selling because I'm actually just sharing, hey, you can look at your engagement in this report and things like that. So those genuine fits are really nice. So yeah, that is my mid-year update/ramble. Let me know in the comments what you've got planned for the rest of the year. How are you feeling about this year so far? Has it been slow? Has it been busy? Have you been doing a lot of the same things as you were the year before? Is it totally different? Let me know if you got any intentions you want to set down in the comments. That's, I think, saying them out loud is always helpful, or typing them loud and proud is always helpful. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. And I will be back on Monday with a new video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye.